This is an aura clearing reading for the wild menagerie. So I'm going to go ahead and surround us in some protective energy, and I'm using my lepidolite. Got 5 crystals here, and I have a few statues too. All right, so okay. Okay, so there's a block right away at your head, and there's a lot of emotion with this block. This just feels like a very sad energy. Okay, so moving down now. Still this same energy, very present. Okay. And this just feels like, sadness, feels like a lot of disappointment, but it also feels, especially when I was at the head, really feeling like childhood as well. Not just later on, not just in adulthood. This felt like childhood, like going back to childhood. And it didn't only feel like you either, it feels like something passed down to you from parents. So I would not say that, whoa, another block there. Okay, whoa, this block is coming up in the shoulder, the left shoulder here. Made my way all the way around, and the shoulder, the left side has to do with the feminine side, but the shoulder tends to have to do with like ancestors, people who came before us. It doesn't have to be ancestors like dead ancestors. It can be parents. It can be people who are still alive. But this is the left side has to do with the feminine side, and this does feel parental. So this is most likely the mother. This shoulder here, I didn't feel this as blocked. So some of this is definitely coming or came from the mother. Woo! And back to the head here. All right, this is something that I gotta work on. I guess that's the reason that I was drawn to the lepidolite first, because the lepidolite tends to have to do with the crown chakra and the third eye, these upper chakras here. And it also has a lot to do with the subconscious. It tends to have to do with like dream states, hypnosis, subconscious, and psychic abilities too, but it can certainly also have to do something in the past. So we tend to hold things from our past in our subconscious. and obviously past lives as well. And I know in your last reading there was that past life that was coming up, where some of these blocks had to do with the past life. But clearly there are some other things involved here, because this, like I said, this also feels like childhood, and this doesn't only feel like your block specifically, like this was completely yours that you just brought over. So yeah, some things definitely came from a past life, you brought them over, but then you also have some generational thought forms here, especially on this left side here, the feminine side. So it feels like, someone already in your family, and especially somebody female, I would say. I can't say only female, because originally I was just feeling like parents. And it didn't even feel like a specific parent, but with it being on the left side, that that really does denote the mother, that she was probably the most blocked with this. But this could even be other females further back even, but this just feels like this sad feeling, this disappointment feeling, and like it's something that you're just taught, that it's something that you are taught to expect. So that gives me the feeling that, I mean, that what that also means is that you not only had this past life, but then you come in and you have these energies around you, you have these authority figures who have this same type of issue, the same type of block, not in the same way as you. Because your thing was more like a fear of being yourself, and letting yourself be seen, and what's going to happen to you for that because of what happened in that past life. And this just feels more like this energy of like a struggle, and um, not being able to accomplish the things that would really bring a person joy and fulfillment, and just not being able to do those things. And there is this feeling almost like a um so that's why I'm even saying that this could go even further back and even be passed down to the mother as well, because there is also this feeling, um that it's like, because you're female, um so there's this feeling with this energy of that as well. And that I'm not really saying for you specifically, because that it just feels like an older energy. But there is a feeling like that, like because of the fact that they were female, there is like more limits as far as what they are able to accomplish, what is able to fulfill them. So they might feel like this or that would fulfill me, but then there's this feeling like they really can't do it. And then you take that same feeling, right, and you replace it with something that's a little bit more modern. Not that there aren't still issues with that today, but obviously they're not quite as entrenched as they were. So it's certainly a lot easier for someone female to be successful or do the things that she would want, but then take that energy and twist it, give it some other reason, it'll adapt. Now it's this other reason that it feels this way. So even if this were passed down to like a male person, how would that person interpret this energy? What would this energy become? What would it end up saying to that person? Or what would be the reason? So it's not really about the reason, it's just this energy. Ooh. There's also oh, that's got to be a thought form. Yeah, because I sensed almost someone coming up, and I'm used to like guides coming up. So at first I'm just automatically assuming that there's a guide coming up, and then I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, is this this energy? It's like I don't know, I do feel a guide here with this too. So I think there's like a guide showing me this image. Um, but the image that they're showing me is of a thought form though. But this thing is like, okay, it's there's this energy coming forward kind of like this, but then there's this image of like this almost like a plastic bubble or like a glass bubble, and this feeling of almost like living in a bubble, living in like a glass bubble. But then they give me this feeling of the wild menagerie. um I think I said this on the very first reading, that they were reminding me of some play that had that word in it, menagerie. It was like the glass menagerie, something like that. And this girl had all these animals or whatever. I've never seen this play. And I don't know what it's about, but they're sending me almost like this feeling. And like I said, I know nothing about this play, but there's like almost like this feeling of this girl who has these animals, and there's this same type of feeling with it that they're sending, almost like she lives in like a bubble, like she's created some kind of bubble for herself that she just sort of lives in. She sort of lives in this imaginary kind of bubble, that she isn't really able to get out of. So it almost feels sort of like this sort of prison is what it feels like. It almost feels like this prison that you've been living in. Yeah, where it's almost like you're not like a real person, or like you're not able to fulfill the things that you would want. But it's almost like in order to do that, in order to be that way, you almost have to blot out some part of yourself. You almost have to, it's like you have to disregard some part of yourself, and just sort of go along with this thing, with things in this way, like you're fine, and sort of put sort of almost just sort of uh, blank that out. But it's like it's there all the time. So it just feels like, yeah, like you end up being imprisoned, like this part of you doesn't have like an escape. It ends up being imprisoned. And these are these energies that are present, that are just, they've been sort of growing in your aura for a long time, multiplying in your aura for a long time. So it's almost like seeing a way out. And it's like even when you have that goal, there's almost this feeling like seeing a way out almost feels impossible. but it also feels like just the belief that you can get out is still a little relieving, you know? That's still something to look forward to, even if you're not sure, like, how it's gonna possibly manifest. Because it feels like there are a lot of things that just fight. And what I mean by things is I mean like beliefs, thought forms that are kind of entrenched, that are even going back. You know, they're going back to past lives, they're going back to other family members that were brought down to you, and these things want to stay alive. So it almost feels like there's this struggle. So there's like this struggle to get out of these beliefs and these conditionings that you were taught. And obviously some of this stuff you were taught from past lives too. So there's this feeling like even things that these people around you, and especially authorities around you, authority figures around you, presented and were kind of ingraining into not just by the energies that they felt, but there's this feeling almost like there were things that they said. There was almost indoctrination into this sort of you can't do it program. Um, so it feels like things that they were saying too, and that they were explaining, um, their sort of their take on what you can accomplish according to what they felt that they were able to accomplish. But then it also feels like later on, out of the same energy, it feels like you did attract other people. So these were people that you chose to have around you, not people that you were just brought in with. So not people that you had to have around you, but just voices um, that sort of confirmed those beliefs rather than like conflicted with those beliefs. And that's not to say every single voice, but there is a feeling that just out of that energy, you would attract others who would give into that as well, and especially feel that for you. Feel like, yeah, you're right, you can only live this certain way. This certain way is acceptable. So it also feels like it's like you have these metaphorical voices around you, um, or what am I saying? Metaphysical voices around you, and then you also have these like physical voices around you that sort of that just sort of repeat these same things, that go along with what these things are saying, because they also have similar things. But it feels like, especially when it comes to you, not necessarily as much for themselves, or maybe they just don't have, like, maybe their dreams just aren't as apparent as your own. Maybe they're more just like okay with settling for things, and they do not really feel like starseed people. Or not even starseed, but just someone from another dimension, someone who has like a higher energy, indigo, crystal, whatever, someone spiritual and who has like a higher vibratory level. These don't really feel like those sort of people who are more open in this way, who are more expanded, more like trusting of the universal flow. It just feels very physical. very like grounded in reality, but not like an actual reality, just this reality that they were taught, this 3D programming. Okay, so we've kind of gone into some of this block a little bit. I know you did have a question also. Um, I'll quickly ask about that, and then I'm just going to get more into this clearing and see what I can do here. Well, first off, with this, even your name, the Wild Menagerie, just to say right off, I would not be surprised at all if there were an angel, because I wouldn't be surprised no matter what there were. I wouldn't be surprised of anything. Every time I go into your reading, there's some new, not even guide, just life form, like some creature that I've never even like come across, just okay. I get a feeling that part of the reason that you would be attracted to this angelic energy, especially the specific angel that you're speaking about, is to help you with clearing this stuff. I mean, especially like Archangel Michael, he's very into clearing this stuff. You always see him, with a demon that he is coming out. It is coming at coming out that he's coming at. So this when he's coming at a demon like that, to me, it just represents a thought form. Okay, it just represents some kind of programming, or it can represent like a reptilian programming, even. Okay, and they are saying, your guides are saying, that's not to say that you have no like angelic connections at all, or that you never have like angelic encounters, but the point is that you especially need those types of energies. You need energies that are going to help you to clear this and help you to see this in a different way. There's also a feeling like you have all these energies around you that are very sort of fantastical. They're very like fantasy like, and very very metaphysical, very very magical, and all these different sorts of beings. um, and so there's almost this feeling that you almost need some beings around you as well, who are less fantasy like, who are more like physical in a sense. And Archangel Michael, I mean, he's not physical like 3D dimension, whatever, but at the same time, there is a more like physical, just grounding presence with a being like this. So there's a feeling like it's like you need some like manifesting, clearing types of energies that you're calling on here. Maybe that's part of the reason, that because I have these other statues around here. I have, my dragon slash lion, which I'm pretty sure I've had at most of your readings here. Now I also have most of these stones that I have here, actually all of them, all four of them. These are very grounding. Then my fifth one here, the lepidolite, is kind of the opposite, but that's because it's helping you with this block up here. But yeah, these four here are very grounding, especially these three. So my jasper and my pyramid and my malachite, these are very grounding energies. So is the fluorite, just because it has to do with nature. It has to do with getting calm and relaxed and grounding. But then I also have Ganesha here, who helps break through obstacles. So him I was feeling to take, and then also I have here Sobek, and he helps with energetic protection. Okay, so this also has to do with clearing energies and blocking negative energies from around yourself. Malachite here actually has to do with that as well. So yeah, there's just this feeling that that's an energy that you're just needing right now. Okay, so I haven't had a lot of time to do a lot of clearing. We've talked a lot about what the block is, so I can only go over by a minute or so here, but I just want to try and see if I can get anything really quick just on how to clear this. As I as I focus into this, this just feels so like just feels like you're moving through something that's really is plugged up and really has difficulty moving. Okay, I'm just not really. Okay, so I'm just gonna ask really quickly here on your end. What can you do here that is gonna help you more with clearing this? Um, but they already answered that somewhat because they're talking about these energies that you need around you. Okay, but part of what is going to help you is knowing where this stuff came from, and then you're sort of able to dispute it. And also even understanding that you have these voices around you physically as well that are not really supporting you, and that's something to start setting some boundaries with. And at the same time, calling on these energies to help clear you. Okay, so I am out of time. I've gone a little bit over. So thank you very much for allowing me to do this reading for you, Wild Menagerie, and I truly hope that, as always, that this reading benefits you. Thank you very much. Namaste.